We all know the ups and downs of the life of an artist, the struggle with our own skill, the incapability of getting things right and losing sight of our vision halfway. But does it have to be that way? Let's find out today why we should never surrender to failure. Just like the Greek tragedy in writing, an artist's drama arc consists of 5 parts: exposition, rising excitement, climax, downfall, and tragedy. But for artists, it looks something like this. See something, get really inspired and excited, try for yourself, fail, hard, and a lot, and give up. But good sketches don't really matter. They don't make you a better artist. But first things first. The problem with the sketch might not even be the sketch itself, but the problem is social media and the way we compare to each other. We spend an average of 147 minutes per day on social media platforms, and we tend to compare ourselves to other people. A study in 2020 found out that the social orientation comparison and psychological well-being were negatively mediated by self-esteem that way. So, to make this very complicated sentence a little bit more easy, the more time we spend on social media comparing ourselves to others, the worse our mental health gets. It's also more than likely that the people you idolize on social media or on YouTube are actually failing just as hard as you do. You just don't see it happen. The problem is, they only post what they are happy with, what they are comfortable with, what shows what kind of skill they have. So you never see if they struggle, or if they had an issue, or if they had an issue, what kind of issue it was. So you sit there comparing yourself to someone who maybe has 5, 10, 20 plus years in the industry and is considered a pro. While you just started half a year ago and wonder why you feel bad about your own things and like they are worthless, which actually misses the point. The whole reason to compare yourself is to find out where you can get better, where you got better, and to find out what you can do to get better. So instead of comparing yourself to someone who you consider a pro, how about you try to compare the you today to the you from last week, last month, or last year, depending on when you started and how big your progress was. Let's call this Compa-reason. Compare, but with reason, because it's not reasonable to compare yourself to someone like Lionel Messi if you just started playing soccer a week ago. After all, the sketch is just the first step in a rather long process, so why stress out about it if you can just enjoy it, be curious and try new things out? You can still adjust the composition, the character, the position of the character, you can still adjust the lighting, you can change the theme completely if you want to. It's all up to you and your imagination. If you don't want to tell a story about the character, scratch the character altogether. Tell a story about the landscape. Just be curious, try new things out and find the way you like it best. That's the most important part. Feeling love for your own work and be passionate about it and try to be kind to yourself. Adjust the shapes if you have to, adjust the composition, give the character another pose that fits the storytelling better, and try to think about what kind of emotion you want the viewer to feel when he looks at it. Does it maybe feel warm and cozy to the viewer? Or rather dark and dangerous? Nothing's set in stone yet. You can still change anything and everything, and that's what it's there for. It's supposed to be a map showing you the way to get where you want to go. How about instead you treat it for what it is? A guide to show you the way to the result you desire. So kind of like before GPS times, maybe your parents had a map in their car and it was rather dirty, maybe a little ragged, and the edges were kind of torn, and it still brought you where you wanted to go. And that's the whole purpose of creating a sketch. It's just the base. It's just a rough guide for the path you have to follow. And I know it's troublesome and even stressful sometimes, because in your mind the image is already done. It's out and about, it's polished and ready to be released to the world to see, and then you sit there and you still have to start bringing it down on paper or on a digital screen, and it's frustrating. And then you have the feeling you don't improve at all. But take it slow. Nobody's rushing you, so why are you hectic? Another thing you might want to consider is changing your tools. And by that I don't mean buy a Wacom tablet for $2,000. I mean rather try some other software. Maybe your favorite artist is using Photoshop because he learned using Photoshop, but that does not mean it has to be your first choice. Try something else. Try Clip Studio Paint or Paint Tool Sai, or try Fire Alpaca. There's so many things out there. You can try and find the right one for you. The one that changes your whole workflow the way you want it to be and you need it to have. And on that note, maybe you just didn't find the right brush for your drawing style yet. It's just like some people can write better in pencil and others in pen. It took me 2 years to figure out that I am a round brush girl. Two years. That's a lot of wasted time on ugly things. Maybe you just tried artist XYZ's sketching brush from a very fancy brush pack, but all you need is a preset brush in your favorite software for you to work, and you just didn't even try it yet. So go ahead, try it out. Maybe the one for you is out there already integrated in the software you like the most. In the end, art should never be about trying too hard. So if you're pushing yourself, maybe it's time for a little break. Taking breaks is a really important part of your art education, because your mind sprints ahead and your muscles can't keep up. What I mean by that is, for art, you need muscle memory. And this memory isn't built overnight. It takes time. It's not like you go to the gym and expect to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger the next day. You could also try a completely new approach. How about we scratch the sketching and instead start thumbnailing? One important thing as a side note. On the thumbnail you do have less space, but it can be helpful to focus on the main subject more easily without the need to fill the emptiness on a bigger canvas right at the get-go. This way you can focus on the shapes, the values and the overall feeling your idea gives off. I'd recommend not spending too much time on the thumbnail and not to use too many values, since it is still considered a form of sketch. You can also stay on one layer for easier changes on the different parts of the image. Additionally, a lot of the different things come into play way earlier than with a traditional sketch. You can define different elements that lead the eye to the area of interest, the light sources, the perspective, the materials and the mood. It can contain as little or as much detail as you like, and everything can still be changed or moved. You can also sample different views on the same scene to find the right one for the look you are going for without wasting too much time. Work smarter, not harder, should be your goal here. The storytelling can be adjusted this way easily too, as you can see early on if everything works out as planned and if you need to make changes in the composition before you spend a lot of effort on it. So hopefully I was able to show you that an ugly or messy sketch doesn't matter. Instead, your development as an artist does. Try to see the little bits of progress you make when you put your effort into it. If something you found helpful in your own journey was missing in this video, feel free to leave a comment below. Stay happy and creative. Until next time.